Okay.
Uh,
Welcome to Astrological Coffee Talk with Eric. And today, very important transit. The Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. And this is starting January 11th, 2025. I couldn't find the end date, but it's about 18 months. So approximately July of 2026. But it's powerful, you know. You know, the Pisces Virgo axis is the health axis, and the North Node, also known as Rahu in the Vedic, it's an energy of our purpose, our mission, our destiny, illusion. It's like smoke and mirrors. It's why we have technology and skyscrapers. It's a consuming energy. Think of the dragon's head. It always wants to eat, eat, eat. It can't get enough. But that's like a foreign energy to us. Like if you have it in your birth chart and you're coming from the South Node, and I am a Pisces North Node, so I literally have this, you know, you have to move towards that energy. When it's in transit, it's an energy that will be, you know, energetically pulling the collective towards that Pisces North Node and, you know, pushing us to be more creative, more imaginative, more spiritual, more compassionate, more empathetic, which is energy we're going to need because 25 and 26 are looking and lining up astrologically, spiritually, energetically to be pretty bumpy and wonky and challenging energies. And then you have the Virgo South Node, which is, you know, dealing with the Virgo, the Virgin, the humanitarian, the, you know, service to others, being analytical, critical, logical, practical, perfectionist, nitpicky. So, you know, the South Node energy wants us to be K2. It cuts, separates, and divides like the planet Mars. But it also is asking the collective to be more spiritual, to have the spiritual bonds, to get out of that analytical, logical mind, transmute it, and to become more grounded into earth and in service to humanity and to nature, and to be more practical, but in our physical body. Remember, Virgo rules the lower intestines, Pisces rules the feet. So it's like we're kind of dealing with like our spiritual health and our mental health. So I think that's going to be huge themes along with Pluto and Aquarius, a little bit of Uranus going into Gemini, retrograding back, and then permanently going in. Uranus Gemini begins April of 2026 for 7 years. They'll have a sneak preview in 25. And then Saturn and Neptune going into Aries permanently in February 2026, but a little sneak preview of Saturn going into Aries and then retrograding back. I don't think Neptune in 25 goes in. It just, you know, it goes in with Saturn, and they'll have the exact conjunction in February of 2026 in Aries, which is really a lot of kind of astrologers you may have seen talking about it. It seems like a very strong new beginning energy. And some people even think of like war or civil war energy. Hopefully not. But a lot of these alignments coincide, right? Pluto, Aquarius, Uranus, Gemini with the Civil War and the American Revolution. So that's why you may see or hear different videos of astrologers talking about that, because they're going on, you know, the basis of past historical events, which we are to learn from, not just in our real history, but also in our astrological history, okay? So that's really important. So we're going to go to the chart. We're going to talk about the energy overall, and then I'll do the spin around and go through each rising sign. So for all you guys getting the recording and stuff, your rising sign will be, you know, tapped in. This, ladies and gentlemen, and for the audience here today, ladies, this is the chart, right? The birth chart is the map of your life and the remembrance of your soul. This is a snapshot of the start of the transit. Whenever you are doing transit charts, you take the beginning of when it first ingresses the Pisces North Node into the ninth house, right, at 29 degrees and 59 minutes. And so, you know, this is on January 11th. This is the West Coast time. And it's going to be like I said, an 18-month transit. But this sets up the lunar and solar eclipses, which will begin in the end of February and early March, and then come back around end of August, early September, lunar, solar. And that cycle will repeat, probably 4 times in the 18-month cycle. And sometimes you can get a preview of the next cycle, which will be Aquarius, Leo, on the later eclipses, like we had this year with the Pisces lunar eclipse, right? That was a sneak preview of this nodal axis. So it just depends, all right? But so on the East Coast, it's 7:20 p.m. Eastern, 4:20 p.m. Pacific. So we always start off, and we'll start with this ascendant and work our way around with, the chart at the time is the Cancer ascendant. And we've got a Gemini moon, and it's Capricorn season, so we got the Cap sun in the 7th house. And if you guys saw on the graphic that I sent last night, just a little blurb talking about those energies, when you look at a chart, we have to look at the chart ruler, right, first for Cancer. And the Cancer rising, some feel it is the authentic original chart because we're born from our mothers, right? And then usually it used to be, stereotypically, but it used to be the father would go out and earn the money. So that's Leo, Cancer, the mother. But some people look at Aries as the most authentic chart. Pisces rising, and so it's ironic that you two are here, right? The Pisces ascendant and the Aries ascendant are the 2 most rare rising signs. And Aquarius is the most rare sun sign. The most common sun sign is mine, Virgo. So, it's just kind of interesting. But having the moon, the ruler, in the 12th house, we'll start with there before we go directly to the Pisces North Node. Because this helps kind of layer and explain the direct energy that's going on at that time. The Gemini moon in the 12th house can be really deep into communicating in the spiritual realm. It can want to be in foreign lands or isolated places. The Gemini moon emotionally, it's got to communicate its thoughts and feelings. It gets very angry and frustrated when it doesn't have the opportunity to or cannot. And so that gets kind of hidden and dissolving in the 12th house. But because you're dealing with Gemini and it's all about the messenger, right? Mercury, the messenger and communication, its hidden talent is being very social and communicating to people from foreign cultures and foreign lands. But also, as I say, mira, escribe, right? The writing. This is definitely like an energy where people are going to want to feel during this whole transit, because that's what this chart is representing, a lot of, and it is forming a T-square, right? This Gemini moon, right? You see the degree 27, the Virgo South Node in the 4th house of our emotional mind and home, right? And then we're dealing with the, 3rd house, right? The Gemini moon in the 3rd house, Virgo South Node in the 3rd house, and then the Pisces North Node in the 9th house. So that's a T-square, a mutable T-square, okay? So when you're seeing energies like that, there is an emphasis on, in a mundane chart, the moon represents us, you guys, the people, where the sun, quite literally double entendre in Capricorn, is more of the power structures and really more of the government. So the government is in our relationship. The government could be in our kitchen. The government could be in our marketplace. It's just lit up with the sun there. So there's going to be an emphasis on barter and trade, whether it's from the government or the people, right? And the Mercury there is going to be that push for contract, sales, negotiation, and things like that. But back to this Gemini moon and the T-square, when you have that Pisces North Node in the 9th house squaring the Gemini moon, there are discomforts, there are challenges, But I always like to be optimistic, having Jupiter on the ascendant, and look at the positive side, where when you have a square, it's pushing you for potential and opportunities for growth, right? So this is where the people, right, in isolation, Gemini moon, the people in isolation can communicate in foreign lands and also in the spiritual realm. And you got the Jupiter there, okay? And not in a conjunction, but we still have it there. Um, Communicate about our beliefs. The Pisces North Node conjunct Neptune, and just in general, it's asking us for our wisdom, beliefs, philosophies, and higher learning, even connecting to gurus and shamans. We are all being pushed at this time. And just so you know, this would be the Pisces North Node in any house, but even more so for the Cancer risings and for this actual chart. As a collective, we are being pushed to work on our spirituality, right? As I've been saying it, right? No days off, Saturn Pisces, we can't, it's go time. It's been go time. The threats of World War III are silliness because it would be World War IV. We've already been in World War III, and that's been spiritual warfare. I can't say when it started because it seems like it's been on the planet forever, but we are deeply in spiritual warfare, okay? And maybe it's intensified since the Kennedy assassination, or if you want to put a date on it, or Industrial Revolution, or right after World War II. Either way, World War III is spiritual warfare, and hopefully we don't get to a World War IV. But the Pisces North Node conjunct Neptune, right? Think of the North Node, the purpose, mission, and destiny conjunct Neptune, which is dealing with how your soul evolves spiritually in this lifetime. This 18th month cycle, 25 to 26, we have got to get in our spiritual bag 10 times more than we're even doing now. It's, and of course, during this transit, it's still going to have Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, right? So, and then Venus is here. So that's our values, right? Our relationships. Venus is exalted in Pisces. This is a wonderful chart. Yeah, this T-square is challenging, but it's putting an emphasis on the people that we have got to communicate with one another, our brothers and sisters in the spiritual realm and in foreign lands, and be willing to exchange knowledge and information, Jupiter and Gemini, to expand our consciousness, to have more compassion and empathy for the children in the Sudan, in the Congo, in Palestine, in Ukraine, in Detroit, in Flint, Michigan, and anywhere in the world, right? That we have got to be walking on that spiritual path. Because remember, Pisces is a powerful energy because it holds the energy of all the 11 previous signs. It's the end of the road. This Gemini moon, it's in the house of Pisces, right? And it's asking us, right, as our hidden talents of being the Gemini and being Mercurial, the messenger, right? It's asking us, and it's perfect, right? Look at how this lines up. There's no accident that Jupiter is here. The Jupiter is kind of actually in a square to, the Venus, right? And so it's asking us that we have got to expand our knowledge, expand our wisdom, beliefs, and philosophies. And Jupiter is the ruler of the Pisces North Node, right? So it being in its 12th house, where Jupiter is in its planetary joint 11th house, but it's at home in the 9th and 12th. It's like, this is really some guru shaman energy if I've ever seen it. I mean, the North Node conjunct Neptune, the ruler of the node in the 12th house in Gemini, asking us to expand our communications, right? This is where, because think about it, a lot of us, if we're being real and honest, and I see it in my comments because I'll mention it in videos and then people will comment back and laugh. A lot of us will be in isolation in our bedrooms, watching videos that are expand our knowledge and consciousness, maybe hopefully watching Astrology or watching YouTube videos, learning about spirituality, learning about business, finance, whatever it is, but just learning, right? On YouTube, on different sites or whatever. And at this time, that is really what is going to be energetically happening, but it can be very beneficial and necessary. Anywhere you see Jupiter, it's where you can have benefic, beneficial energies, okay, and blessings. Let me just check real quick because this is 5 degrees. This is a day or a night chart. 22, so that would actually be below. So this would be considered to be a night chart. So Venus would be the greater benefic, and Saturn would be the greater malefic, and they're both there together. And that's kind of a conjunction too, Venus-Saturn. When you see the Venus-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, it is a strong emphasis on having those values of spiritual discipline, healthy boundaries in your life, and agape, right? Book of Ephesians, agape, Christ-like love for yourself and others. Saturn in Pisces, it's, we just went through, I guess it's been like 2 years now or a year and a half where Saturn's been in Pisces. But the prior 6 years, right, Saturn does a 2.5 year transit in each sign. It was in its home signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. But that's those containers of restrictions and boundaries. Pisces has no boundaries. When Saturn enters Pisces, it's like an oxymoron, and Saturn is like, whoa, Pisces, chill out. We're not being all spiritual woohoo and escaping. We got to be more grounded. We got to be more practical. We need to have some daggone boundaries in our lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically. And we need to increase our spiritual discipline and practice. Saturn will challenge organized religion. It will challenge spirituality. It will have cults coming up, as we've seen in the last couple of years. It will reveal the deceptions from the television, the film industry, entertainment, and media. It will reveal the sort of the deceptions going on in the medical field, right? And so, as I say to people with the Pluto Capricorn, and we're still dealing with that to November 19th, that was still digging up the last call of political, financial, and entertainment. When we get to Pluto Aquarius, the focus is going to be more, because that's what Pluto Hades does. It's also a virus, but it's toxins, detoxifying, pain, trauma, crises. It is going to reveal to us, you guys, all the lies in the technology, the crypto, the dark web, the internet, all the lies in science and in medical and these studies and these researches and pharmaceuticals, all the lies and secrets in philanthropic work, nonprofits, Red Cross, right? All the things in innovation, Elon Musk, all these things are going to be dug up and revealed, right? We may see like, oh, this whole climate change thing is really a hoax, and it's just about energetic and spiritual control over us, right? Because all the stuff that you put in a lithium battery is just as bad for us as the human race and society and planet as, fossil fuels and gas and oil. So it's trading things. So it's not like, oh, electric cars is such a good thing. Electric cars, as you've seen so many issues where people's cars just decide to, what happened to that senator's wife or whatever, she like in DC, like her electric car just went into the water and she died or whatever, which I don't know if that was like some hit on her or whatever.
What happened?
Oh
Say
my
that
God, you
again.
don't remember that story? What was her name, Jen? It was an
No.
Asian woman, and she, oh God, I think she was married to a senator or something, but she was involved in something big, and her car, her electric car, just went into a lake or something. I believe in the DC, Maryland area, and she died. But you're seeing so many people having issues with their electric cars because their cars, and also people don't think about, you're sitting on a lithium battery. That's like literally that energy that's bringing cancer to your ovaries and testicles and your private area. I don't know. It's weird to me. I just think that we're kind of going down a place that, they can control those cars too. They can shut it off, right? Now you see all these
Yeah, I
cars,
was just thinking
these
I
cars
was
that look
thinking,
like
well, maybe
RoboCop,
somebody
right?
had put a program into the lady's car.
Yeah. Well, with the what are the new trucks? The oh my God, those Tesla trucks that everybody I see them all over here in Scottsdale. They look like these police cars of the future, and but at the same time,
No, they don't. They look like what your uh, child drew in
well, yeah, they look terrible, but
nursery school.
they remind me of some robo. I don't know, but people just. But see, this is the thing. If you tell people it's, oh, it's Tesla and it's expensive and this and that, everybody wants to have it, all the athletes and people. And I just look at these cars and I'm like, spiritually, when I look at them, it doesn't look right to me. There's something, I don't know. But,
Yeah, I
it
feel
is,
the same way too.
yeah,
Ain't no way. No
it,
way, bro. No way.
it is what it is, right? But
Right.
think about the Saturn conjunct the Venus. Venus is vehicles. Venus is relationships. Venus is our money, our food, our art, our culture, our fashion, right? But it's our self-worth. Saturn here, it could be restricting it, but it also could be telling you you need to be disciplined about those things, right? You need to be organized and structured about your art, culture, entertainment, food, fashion, relationships, your self-worth. And when it's in Pisces, that's the best thing because it's almost like Venus and Pisces can be on the lower vibration or because it's so positive and loving. Like Venus and Pisces straight up is like, I love fish, I love dogs, I love trees, I love my neighbor, I love everybody, right? But it can be self-sacrificing. It can deal with a lot of victimization. And Saturn comes in to kind of contain and restrict and put discipline around that. Like, hey, you can love everyone, but you have to do it in a disciplined way with healthy boundaries, right? You can love your neighbor, but you have to, keep an eye, for any illusion, confusion, and deception upon them because you don't know if they have your best intentions, right? Oh, that ex-husband, that ex-boyfriend, that ex-girlfriend trying to come back into your life. You got a big heart, you're compassionate, but keep that third eye, stay awakened and pay attention. Do they really have your best intentions? And it's ironic, right? This is in the ninth house of like a potential second marriage. So, so you really have to think about these things. But it's also speaking to us really tapping in, right? Foreign lands, the ninth house, right? And publishing. This is definitely a time where we're going to see a lot more spiritual movies, documentaries, books, all esoteric and spiritual knowledge is going to actually, I feel, even increase more than it has since 2020. Excuse me. I think that there can be some more regulations coming, you know, and at the same time, there can be more finances and more people getting involved, especially I think in the publishing and the documentary aspect or films, because you say that right because of the Venus and the Neptune. That's all about entertainment, but it's coming through the spiritual lens, and the North Node is really, this is where when you have the North Node in Pisces, it's like it's kind of I hate to say it, but it's kind of like hermit time, right? But it's not hermit time like just the escapism. It's hermit time so that we can kind of really grow and ascend spiritually, because that's what is happening energetically with the planet, right? You may see people fall out of your life and relationships dissipate and fall away. I've been experiencing it since 2020 and even a little before then. But it's kind of like the divide they talk about in the Bible, but it's, there's some people who are going to choose to energetically stay in the cognitive dissonance, in the matrix programming, in the brainwashing, my government, my daddy, my Wall Street Journal, New York Times, my Cosmopolitan, my sports, whatever it is that people are caught up in terms of the system, they may choose to stay in that 3D realm and not want to awaken or do the work. And that's fine, right? This is Earth School. There's no judgment. We're not any better than anybody else. It's just different values, but different choices that we made, that our soul made before we came here. I really believe that some souls have chosen to experience this life and to, go through different experiences, but not to learn and grow from it. You know what I mean? And you would say, well, that seems kind of weird. Why would somebody not want to grow? But, we don't understand the karmic cycles. We don't understand what it is that lessons we have to learn or things that we have to experience that we may have to repeat in multiple lives. Who knows, right? I think for me, I feel like this is definitely my last time here because I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do the Pisces North Node, which I have, the work that is going to allow me to leave this Saturnian matrix bubble and to ascend. And if I can just stay in the heavens or whatever realm or planet or stay with Yahuwah, Yeshua, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? So for me, this Pisces North Node, it is a North Star for us to focus on for our spiritual growth during this time. But the ninth house, you guys, is what? It's also, I want to zoom back out. Think of the ascendant as it's the house of self, right? Our aura, 6 feet apart, our I am energy. The fifth house is like your right arm or right leg. The ninth house is like your left arm or left leg, and it's the extension, right? It's like that trine, that easy flow of energy of how we grow and move forward. And so the ninth house, if you've never heard this, it is fortune, abundance, and luck, master's, PhD, your father's teachings, publishing, foreign lands, foreign cultures. But it also unlocks the blessings of the ascendant, okay? And so if you didn't notice, we have our beautiful friend Mars here in a trine to the Neptune and North Node, okay? Mars in Cancer. Now we know Mars in Cancer is debilitated, but when you have that Mars there, right? And remember, it does retrograde into or go in to Leo. I think from like January to March or January to February. I thought it was December to February, but I guess obviously it's still here in Cancer. So it goes in, but it's going to be there till April of 2025. That is a very challenging energy, emotionally frustrating, overprotective. But when you have the Mars in Cancer, water sign, trining the North Node and Neptune, this is really an energy where we can harness through our willpower, our drive, our initiating energy, tremendous spiritual blessings and protection for our I am energy, our families, our children. This is that old time, I think, my grandparents down in Tampa, the old Baptist churches, but this is that old time spiritual warrior energy, quite literally. Okay? So, it's something to really, I like how this chart lines up for us energetically. And, the Pisces North Node, like I said, there's going to be, I think a lot of the lessons and blessings will come through our spiritual aptitude and the willingness to do, the willingness, wifey forgot I'm in coffee talk, to do that work. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be powerful, So back down here, any questions? I'm going to start to talk a little bit more about the Virgo South Node, and then we'll start spinning around all day rising signs. You see anything interesting, Janice, that you're thinking about, or?
No,
And we're going to get into this Lilith and the part of fortune and more of the 7th house and 8th house too. I think it's interesting that Ceres has left Capricorn and will be in Aquarius, as Pluto obviously is there for good for the next 20 years. Okay, with the Virgo South Node in the 3rd house, really important. You know what I mean? Because the 3rd house is our younger siblings, our cousins, our neighbors, our neighborhood, our local community. It is social media, our skills, our sales, our marketing, our athletic ability, the adult relationship with our mother, our transportation. So Virgo South Node, and we also have Isis, which is trans Pluto and Regulus. That deals more with health. So this really speaks to me about how are we going to be. I mean, I'll just say straight up, this is like farmer's market energy all the day, all time. Like we have got to tap into our local communities and really focus on our digestion and nutrition, right? Being grounded in the earth, being more practical, but using our analytical and logical minds, but with a tinge of spirituality behind it, right? Where we're not just like narrowing in and just, having a narrow focus on what's happening or, what's going on social media and this and that, but how can we make things better? That's the Virgo mantra. Virgo is the best personal assistant you can have in your life because Virgos analyze and assess without emotion. They just want to fix it and make it better. And when it's in the South Node, it does it, but it does it more in a spiritual way. If you're staying in the lower vibration of being overly self-critical, overly critical of others, over nitpicky, that's where you're going to get into trouble because the South Node K2 is saying, no. It's time to be more spiritual and not accept those people, whether they're siblings, cousins, your mom, your neighbor, being too overcritical, too nitpicky, right? Too judgmental. This is saying, let's take that high vibration of the Virgo energy and how can we provide the weed and the medicine, the service to humanity, analyze and assess without emotion, and just get in there. Because Virgo's about let's get in there and let's get it done, right? Let's get it done, right? If you ask me, Eric, do I look good in this shirt? I'll be like, yeah, I like that color on you, but what if you wore an emerald green? It'll bring out your eyes and it goes good with your complexion, maybe a peach shirt or a warm, a forest green, a lemon, you know what I mean? Virgo is always there to optimize it, and it's trying to make it better. But when it gets on its low vibration, it can be really mean and messy. And so if we are staying in that, that's where during this transit, we can experience a lot of separation from our friends, family, siblings, cousins, and mom, right? Because what does the South Node also do? It cuts, separates, and divides. So mom, siblings, cousins, and neighbors, if they're not, being a good human to you, or they're talking too much smack, or judging and being too critical, or mean, or overanalyzing you when you ain't even asked for it, the South Node is going to be like, they got to go. That's like the Libra South Node now, right? Those relationships that are not harmonious and peaceful until January 11th, you got to cut them off. If it's not fair and just, right?
Hey, Eric.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, no,
I
no.
just thought about something. I think CNN had something on about Generation X, which you and I are a part of.
Yeah.
And they were saying that, we were raised by the previous generation, which their Pluto would be in Leo, right?
Yeah. Baby boomers. Yeah.
The baby boomers. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of their
Yeah.
name. But anyway, they were just saying that we were raised by them, and basically it was, what it was. If you came up during that time, we just had to do it. There was no asking for
Oh, yeah.
help or nothing like that. You was presented
Figure it
with
out and get
whatever
it done. Yeah.
situation and get it done, and it better be right.
Yeah.
If it wasn't right, consequences. But that I thought about that when you was talking about the Virgo, and I guess that's rings true for those that have Pluto in Virgo. We all can relate to that type of situation.
Yeah. And I think part of the Pluto energy, right? It's our soul psyche and soul psychology. And and some of the baby boomers do go into Pluto Virgo because the Gen X, Pluto Virgo starts at 56 to like 70, a little bit of 71. But Gen X, I think, really started around 65, 64, 63. So you still have some of the boomers spilling into a little bit of Pluto Virgo, just like um, the millennials, kind of like the little bit of the end of Pluto Libra, Gen Y, millennials, it's not just Pluto
Yes.
Scorpio. It kind of really starts
Yes.
1980, which is a little bit of the end of Pluto Libra. So, you'll see the generations don't coincide 100% with it, but they definitely do go with it. But that's what this Virgo South Node, like, think about it. Like, the South Node also doesn't want you to carry that weight that you have to um, be over analytical, that you know what I mean? The South Node is teaching us to kind of release these burdens, right? Purge. That's what Pluto does: purge, detoxify, right? To heal it. The South Node is kind of doing and asking us to do that. And it's perfect that this is happening while Pluto's in Aquarius, because Pluto in Aquarius over here in the eighth house, which is perfect that it's there, um, is getting into, detoxifying using what? The ancient herbs, essential oils, right? Anything hidden underground, gems, crystals, and it's Aquarius. So tapping into like what Janice is all into, like the science and innovation, and making sure you are purifying and cleansing your body. Pluto with Ceres is all about detoxification. Now, see, Americans, we get very arrogant, but in other indigenous cultures and nations, they will do a parasite cleanse sometimes 1 to 3 times a year. A lot of Americans have never done one in their lives. And we have to start to learn to detoxify, especially because in America, we are poisoned worse than most countries with our
Yeah.
food. We barely have and eat real food in this country. And so, this Pluto and Ceres in Aquarius, Ceres is how we are nurtured and cared for, how we want to nurture and care for others. It's our food, fashion. It's got that mother archetype, but it's also the grains, the harvest. So you are going to see, even in the Pluto 20-year cycle, but even for 25 and 26 with this Pisces North Node, we are going to see innovation in terms of how we grow our food, right? We're going to learn that, sound frequency and colors and copper help us with our gardens and help us grow. We're going to learn, we're going to have different foods like sea moss, but different algae and different maybe, fish. I think it's Arctic chard that they say doesn't have the parasites in it because it's a fish that's deeper in the ocean, right? And so, these are, and different types of food are going to be, and I'm not talking about like the kind of like this whole process, veganism stuff that's really chemicals and not healthy for you. I'm talking about like real food, but finding new ways to grow it and harness it and to protect our grains and, and even things like probably free energy and stuff. So I think that we may not get there to 2027 or 2030 or 2032, but this energy is all leading us to it and pushing us as a collective and as spiritual beings to kind of harness and grow that way. Okay. So this is very much about the marketplace, business partnerships, marriages. And so this can be where, people are going to have to work together. Now, remember, the sun, it's fading in the seventh house. That's when the sun sets, right? The king doesn't want to be in the marketplace because the king don't feel like negotiating. The king is like, if I said it's $100, it's $100. I don't want to negotiate and haggle, and you want me to pay 83, or you want to buy it for 83. No, I'm the king, right? So, and it's also Saturn and Sun are kind of enemies, right? It's the opposite sign. So the sun in Capricorn and in the seventh house, it's not really tapping into its power. And so that's kind of interesting for this story, and saying like, well, what does it mean? Because it's also kind of opposing, it's not exact, but it's only a 5-degree orb opposing to Mars. So when I said that that's kind of like the business and the government, the sun and Mars on the ascendant, there's something going on there. There's definitely something going on. And then a T square with, what's this? And Spica and Libra in the 10th house. So, and Aries. So I think that, there's lessons to learn about Mars Cancer, how we are going to be dealing with our own authority and the authorities in our lives and the authority that's the government, right? That we have got to, Cancer Mars is like, wait a minute, I don't care what authority you are. Is my home and family going to be safe and protected? Are you emotionally taking advantage and abusing us and manipulating us? You know what I mean? Mars in Cancer is just not having it. For good, bad, or indifferent, Mars in Cancer will be overly protective of its home, homeland, family, children, and I think maybe at this time we need to be. That's why it's in transit there for that long. It's like, hey, people, wake up. Don't be naive. Sex trafficking is real. This isn't just something with Diddy and the news media now and Epstein. This has been going on a worldwide scale for decades. And it's got to stop. We've got to protect the children. There is no greater sin than the sins that have been going on with sex trafficking and slavery of children, right? In the Congo, so we can have this technology and these cell phones. It's disgusting. There have to be other and better ways to do all that we are doing besides taking advantage of innocent children, okay? So, part of fortune in the 6th house, I like that. Sagittarius, spiritual and financial blessings. And Sagittarius is kind of like, my work, my daily routine. I got to move my hips and thighs, but I got to move. I've got to spend time in nature. I've got to expand my knowledge and my information. And if I'm willing to do those things, right, Sagittarius likes to zoom out, and it's very fortunate. So I think it's kind of ironic that, that the part of fortune is in the daily routine of Sagittarius. And that's about freedom and adventures, expanding our beliefs and knowledge, right, and our wisdom. It's time to learn what you need to learn. So you are prepared for this new system, this new world, this new technology. Whether we get into centralized or decentralized digital currency, something's coming, right? Whether it's Fed now, whether it's crypto, whether it's, everything through the blockchain, we are probably going to lose the fiat currency and paper money. And maybe we'll go back to gold. Maybe, who knows? But there's going to be a big shift and big change. And that's, I think, probably going to happen before we even get to Pluto Aquarius. Maybe not. Maybe it will be delayed. Who knows? But I do think it's something that we have to ponder and consider. And I'm not saying invest a ton of money in crypto, because I think that there's some nefarious things about it, especially with the Bitcoin. And, if BlackRock is over investing in stuff, they could be inflating it to then make it crash for their own benefit. But I know that one thing that will be used, when we start to do digital exchanges, the Ripple and the XRP are always going to kind of, be necessary or a part of whatever system, whether it's Fed now or free this or that. It's going to be part of the functionality of money exchange, okay? The Black Moon Lilith in the 5th house in Scorpio is our children. This is our heart chakra, our creativity, our hobbies, our speculative gains. Juno's there too. Interesting time, interesting energy. Kind of trining the Venus a little, and the Saturn. Lilith in Scorpio is it's envy and jealousy on steroids. So, where we could see such beautiful positive energies in terms of us being pushed to grow spiritually, Lilith in Scorpio, 5th house, that, I can't say that I don't see it, that it could increase things like stalking, domestic violence, date rape. You know what I mean? There's yin yang in the universe, right? As above, so below. But with positivity, there's always the opposite, negativity. right? With good intentions, there's bad intentions. And so Scorpio and Lilith can be used for us to tap in a very deep spiritual way into the ancient wisdom and the occult knowledge. So I think that can be positive. And for the collective, that means it's your tribe of people. So, definitely. Sorry, I just want to check to see if there was somebody texting for the Chizat. And I don't think it is. But you know what I mean? So Scorpio, Lilith, and remember the Lilith energy is both, where you can you can find your tribe, but you can deal with a lot of haters, be over sexualized. And that's the thing. That's why I said the date rape, domestic violence, because Lilith is intense sexual energy in Scorpio, and it's in the fifth house of dating, romance, and fun sex. So, you can see where that could potentially be challenging, and you got Uranus kind of opposing that energy in Taurus. Now, this is really good in terms of the internet. Uranus, Taurus, 11th house. This is where, our throat chakra can be opened in a very deep spiritual way to connect with people over the internet, to do financial exchanges, to do, groups teaching people about values and self-worth and finances, and, everybody learning how to, expand or grow, through social networks, the internet, our groups, our organizations. So that can be really a interesting energy. But when you think about the 10th house is the government, the father, the authorities, the 11th house is the actual politicians. This is like president, vice president, Congress, Senate. Uranus, Taurus, there can be sudden changes to the leaders and their body, physical health, their throat chakras. There can be sudden changes, unexpected events with the political values of the nation or things like that. And this is right before Inauguration Day. So I think, January 20th. And I don't know if I share with you guys, but Mars is opposite Pluto on November 3rd and 4th, exactly. The day before and 2 days before the election. That's a very explosive energy, and something's going to pop off that could delay, postpone, eliminate the election. I don't know what it's going to be, but pay attention to November
I know
3rd.
in my area, they are promoting early voting
Yeah,
and
no,
mail-in voting too.
most states in the union now have early voting. We have it here. Janice, do you have it in Maryland?
Yes, we do.
Okay. But still, a lot of people still wait till election day. But November 3rd and November 4th, I I don't see what it is. And to be honest with you, spiritually, I've had a hard time feeling that we're going to have an election.
I'm with you on that, Eric. I don't think we're going to have one.
Yeah, I just always pray for peace and stuff like that, but I'm just being honest. I just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like, and if it is an election, I don't know if it's going to be normal. Like, I don't feel anything normal. I mean, God, what is normal since 2020, right? I mean,
Right?
that word could be erased out of the dictionary, literally. So, I mean, gosh, but so we'll still talk about the different energies. Let's move to the Leo rising, which takes the Pisces North Node in the eighth house. So it's the eighth and second house access. And for each of these guys, I'm going to mainly, I broke down pretty much everything for the overall, but I'm going to mainly focus just on the T square and the Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node for those energies. So for you Leo rising people, having it in the eighth house, think about this alignment. North Node, Neptune, Venus, Saturn, in the eighth house, there is really, for Leo risings, if you ever were going to get deep and get into ayahuasca and astrology and numerology and human design and tarot and learning about the secrets of the world and secret societies, and oh my God, I didn't know the FBI was doing this, and I didn't know Skull and Bones did that. Leo risings, welcome to a new reality. This is going to be where you are going to be pushed into You may have never even heard of sea moss as a Leo rising, and then all of a sudden you're going to become like the biggest spiritual health nut in 25 and 26 that like anybody's ever seen. Like this is going to change a lot of things for Leo risings, and they may even separate from their values that they were instilled from their childhood, right? Thinking the Virgo in the second house, right? They may like cut off their family and be like, I'm just going on spiritual retreats. I'm quitting my job. I don't want materialism anymore. Like these are those huge shifts, like where, remember I've said multiple times where I still believe a lot of people are going to awaken. And for us who have already awakened, we're going to have to be there to hold space for them. Because let's be honest, we all know people like this. They are in total shock even of what they're hearing about now with Jay-Z, Beyonce, Diddy, and this and that. They're shocked that, oh my God, they tried to assassinate Trump. I mean, there's people who they can't fathom anything that we're talking about here today. And so we have to have compassion for them. And they are going to awaken. And when they awaken, it's going to be like, whoa. So you're going to see this with the Leo risings that are still kind of in the matrix and systems where Venus, 8th house, they're going to be like, oh man, I microdose every day now. I do yoga. I don't go anywhere without my crystals. I went on a spirit. I went to India for 6 months. It was a life-changing experience. And oh my God, now I'm going to become a shaman. You know, like don't be surprised, Leo risings. And if you don't do that, you may just be the person that's just like, you know what? Yeah, I like this guy. He's weird. BigEAstro. I want to take an astrology class. I want to learn my birth chart. I want to learn how to meditate and do breath work. What is that? Right? I want to start to get crystals, or I just want to know, why is the government and IRS and FBI always lying to, you know what I mean? The veils will be lifted for you, Leo risings, but you quite literally may change your career, how you work. And this may be a time where you feel like, you know what, my family's been deceiving me, or I feel like I'm super intuitive. Remember, the second house is your five senses, Virgo South Node there, where you may start to change your eating habits. You may become super intuitive and your values are changing. Your survival skills. You may be like, oh my God, those doomsday preppers were right. I'm going to start doing, I'm going to get my, what are those? I see those commercials, American, the Patriot Pack. I'm going to become a patriot. That stuff can really happen for your Leo risings. And I don't mean to laugh about it but it can be really quite a shocking experience. But just stay in a place of spiritual growth. For all of us, the four highest frequencies are gratitude, joy, love, and authenticity. We have to vibrate from the heart chakra, and we have to authentically be ourselves. There's no more masks. Don't put on any more masks. It's a waste of your time and your soul. It's time to get real. It's time to know you are a spiritual being. You are all gifted and talented and amazing. But you got to see it in yourself and you got to believe it. So Leos, that's kind of what's up to bat for you. Virgo, this is on your, always remember the pillars of the chart. First house of self, fourth house of mom, emotional mind, upbringing, right? Home. Seventh house of relationships, marriage, business partnerships, you in relation to the other half. And 10th house, these are the angular houses. 10th house, father, career, public image, and legacy. Who are you out in public? So when you have the Virgo South Node on the house of self, the I am energy, this is where, and Pisces North Node, Virgo risings, you're going to feel such a push to get into a spiritual relationship, marriage, or business. You may say, hey, I own a yoga studio. I want to connect with this Reiki person or this astrologer and have them join me in my business and come work with me, right? Pisces in the 7th house. The Venus, the North Node, the Neptune and Saturn here. This can also bring in a spiritual relationship. With Saturn there, it could wind up being that long-term love that, you know what, you may get married at 45, never been married, or you may have a second marriage, or you may just find or start a spiritual business that is something that is going to be long-lasting. Saturn, it does restrict and delay, but you guys, Saturn brings in more blessings than Jupiter and Venus can ever bring. And that may sound shocking, but Saturn wants to reward you once you put in the discipline, structure, get organized, and put in the hard work and respond to your abilities. And when it's in Pisces, your abilities are your creativity, your imagination, your spiritual gifts. So Virgo risings, you gotta, let's be honest, Virgo risings, right? We're talking to one of my sons, my firstborn's a Virgo rising, but I think about Will Ferrell, Kevin Hart, LL Cool J, Jay-Z, Virgo risings, right? They can be a little arrogant because they're super smart. The South Node being on your ascendant, you got to put down that big brain. And this is where you've got to become more introspective. You've got to work on your self-love during this transit, Virgo risings. You've got to really focus on who you are as a spiritual being, not as this physical 3D person. And this is where, humble pie may come in. But this is where you're going to be pushed to realize everything's not about you, right? You got to consider the Pisces North Node in the 7th house. You've got to you're going to be pushed. The North Node is where you're going to be pulled energetically to go to. You're going to feel like you've got to connect with the people in the marketplace, with contracts and negotiations. You're going to be like, oh my God, I don't need to keep buying iPhone 14, 15, 16. My 8, my 6, my 10 is good enough. I don't need to be caught up in the materialism. I need to value my spiritual connections, my relationships, my business partnerships. I need to value oh my God, I've lived in this community the whole time and I didn't realize 3 blocks away from me is this like spiritual store and they sell crystals and this and that. It's been there for 20 years. You didn't even know about it. Well, Virgo risings, you're going to wake up and you're going to start to see some stuff. Okay. So, and I think that's a good, anytime the nodes, you guys, are in transit on the angular houses, those shifts, they're a little bit stronger. So Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sag risings, this is going to be a little bit stronger for you guys. All the mutable signs. Those are the mutable signs. Okay. So let's go to Libra. So Libra risings, we're talking about your 6th and 12th house. Pisces in the 6th house, Libra risings, we're dealing with your health. We're dealing with your work and your daily routine. You may be like, you know what? I just went through as a Libra rising so much in terms of like working on my inner peace, my self-love, and, making sure that people are respecting me and this and that. And now with this Pisces North Node in your 6th house, you're like, I'm ready to start doing my spiritual practice, my meditation. I'm going to really focus on my spiritual discipline and my health. I'm going to be in a place where I'm actually, I am going to take an Epsom salt bath each week with crystals in it and massage my feet and my toes. You've got to, Libra risings, watch out, right? Saturn, Venus, and we're dealing in the 6th house's digestion. You've got to make sure that you are spiritually connected to what you're eating. It's healthy for your digestion. You may want to, this may be the time where you're like, you know what, I want to become a graphic designer. You're going to take your creativity, imagination. You want to do an independent film, a documentary. You may get into a place where you're doing more charity or philanthropic work. This is service to humanity, the 6th house. And Saturn is all about that spiritual discipline. So, for Libra risings, there's going to be an emphasis on your work, your health, your daily routine. You may adopt a dog or a cat. You may be like, oh my God, I just saw this dog and he only had 3 legs, but he touched my heart. I got to have him. Or you just go into a shelter and be like, oh my God, I want 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a guinea pig. You know what I mean? Like, it can sound crazy, but it's not. When you're dealing with the North Node, Neptune, Saturn, and Venus in the 6th house, I will say this, you may have issues with your feet and toes, but your health could be really good during this time. Just watch out though, because Neptune, you guys, it is disease. So this is where we are having to make sure during this whole transit, and this for all the ascendants, let's make sure we increase our water drinking, but let's make sure we're getting the hot lemon water. Let's make sure we're getting, natural spring water. Let's make sure we're, improving our health and our diet. Remember, I told you this is the health axis. So when you're having the Virgo South Node in the 12th house, you want to make sure you are doing what you need to do so you don't wind up in the hospital. You don't wind up sick, right? That you are really, you're going on spiritual explorations in the dream world, and this is a time for Libra risings where they can really heal their subconscious programming from childhood. I mean, in a great way. And you're going to have your dreams, you're going to be in the spiritual world and realm in a big way. And remember, I always tell you, we are not victims in the physical 3D or in the 5D spiritual. You can go to your dreams at night, Libra risings, and set the intention. And this is for everybody, it doesn't matter your ascendant. Set the intention that, you are going to travel. Your soul travels at night. Your physical avatar body gets tired. Your soul doesn't get tired. That's not even a real thing, right? Your soul is out there in the 5th, 6th, 7th dimension, out there in Uranus, Venus, Jupiter, right? So you can set the intention that when you go to sleep at night, your soul is going to travel out of your heart, third eye, or crown chakra. That when you wake up, you will be restored and renewed. You will get information from your spirit guides, your higher self, your guardian angels, your ancestors, right? We're not victims. We got to get out of this victim mentality, and especially knowing that Venus is there. I like this conjunction to Saturn because it's like, hey, stop it. Don't throw a pity party for yourself because you love somebody unconditionally and they didn't love you back. So what? That's their loss. Step up, Buttercup, right? And realize that, like, hey, things happen, but don't you ever stop loving with compassion and empathy. Okay? So, and that's in the 6th house with the daily routine. So, but you had a dog that bit you when you were 10. Doesn't mean at 45 or 55 or 70 years old you can't own a dog. It may be the biggest change in your life that becomes the greatest best friend and super healthy and beneficial for you, right? Remember, cats, they see things in the spiritual realm. So cats are really good protectors. Dogs, it's that unconditional love. Venus, Pisces love, okay? Your dog's going to love you no matter what you do or say, as long as you feed them. So Libra risings, you've got a good balance coming. But for all of us, right, with this Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node, we kind of got to think about when you were a child on a seesaw. I like to say 70-30. Some astrologers say 50-50, maybe 60-40, leaning towards the North Node. But what you have to remember is that you take the gifts of the South Node with you. So when you're doing your spiritual work or you're being creative and imaginative, bring your intuitive, analytical, logical mind with you. Don't forget about it, right? Be detailed and precise. You create a painting or whatever, but take the time. The Virgo South Node, take the time to be detailed. Make it look professional. Sometimes Pisces could be like too spiritual woohoo, like, oh man, it's just whatever I created, man. It was awesome, dude. I'm just in the flow. I just like did finger painting in my toes. It's like Picasso. No, it's not. It's not like Picasso. It looks like your hand and your feet, and you're like 7 years old. So take the Virgo South Node, K2, and be on your game. Okay? Virgo's about the details. Right? And so you can still be spiritual and be detailed and precise, right? So just remember that access. Now, Scorpio risings. We got the Pisces North Node in your 5th house. So I'm talking to you, Eric, right? So just remember, the 5th house does have the past life karmas. The 5th house is about your children, right? I got 4 of them. So, it is about your dating, romance, fun sex. It is about your hobbies, your creativity, your speculative gains. It's gambling, lottery, fantasy sports. So when you have the Pisces North Node here with Neptune, Venus, and Saturn, Scorpio risings, put out your screenplay, put out your documentary, your movie, write your thing, create every day. At 25 and 26, I'm gonna even do more astrology videos, more teaching. Fifth house is education. I'm gonna do more creativity. I'm gonna explore new ways and new perspectives at looking at the signs and the places and the planets, coming up with innovative, more spiritual ideas. I may do more meditation on my channel, things like that. I'm building my new community, and I've got in the community a whole subscription program where you guys are going to receive free content and free and crazy discounts from all my guests that I've had on my Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast. I mean, it's going to be, and hopefully I can get it out before 25, but it's going to be ready sooner than later. And so this is perfect for Scorpio rising like myself or any of you guys. And we got to be tapping in with our children. Don't just allow them to disappear on the technology and iPads, right? We take the iPads away. They can have them on the weekends, and that's it. No technology during the week. You've got to have more compassion and empathy for your children and for your own heart, right? Like your own inner child. Get back into more play, Scorpio risings. But listen also to high vibrational music, right? Maybe I can't listen to Ready to Die from Notorious Big and all the, cursing. Maybe I gotta, just keep it more into spiritual stuff, get more into the classical and jazz and high vibrational hip hop, right? Just my Tribe Called Quest and De La, more positive, less cursing. Yeah, Scorpio risings, you want to create from your heart chakra, but with this spiritual intention. And the discipline. That Saturn is there for you to be disciplined, but also to put the discipline on your children. This is where it's like, hey, you have got to, read more, but I want you to make something creative once a week. Make a picture, make a painting. I did coding with the kids during the pandemic, and that didn't last or whatever. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what? You got to start to learn to do some more things on this computer. You need to learn robotics and coding and automation. So Scorpio risings, just remember everything with the Neptune, North Node, Saturn, and Venus is in the lens of your creativity, your heart chakra, your children. If you're single and you're dating, listen, this is not the time to get involved in any relationships where people are indulging in drugs and alcohol and escapism. Alcohol shrinks your brain. It's no good. I'm not going to judge or knock somebody that wants to explore with ayahuasca or microdosing or different things like that, but just do it safe and secure and don't overindulge, right? Venus, Saturn, Neptune, it's with moderation and restrictions. So, if you are exploring the frog or the toad or ayahuasca, do it responsibly, right? Responsibility is Saturn, Scorpio risings, and but also tap into your ancestors, past life karmas, research some things, do like a past life regression reading, Scorpio risings. And your 11th house, you've got to be, you've got to continue to do astrological coffee talk with Eric. You've got to do spiritual things over the internet. With groups and organizations, this is where you can volunteer. Right? During the pandemic, my family, we did stuff helping the Navajo Nation. This is where you can get into the philanthropic and charity. This is where you can get into helping and making those spiritual connections with your stepchildren or with your, maybe. But see, the South Node also, this is where the fake friends or the groups and organizations that they're not treating you right, you got to cut them off. The South Node, right? If they're not being a good human, right? Virgo is about the analyzing and that connection, being of service to one another, a good friend, being positive in groups and organizations, being kind and compassionate over the internet. The South Node wants you to be spiritual. This is a very challenging South Node for Virgo. So this is where, this is where you may have to cut off the relationships with fake friends and the older sibling, Scorpio risings, which has already happened in my life because this is my natal placement. But you know what I mean? Seriously. And this is where you've got to have that spiritual intention over the internet. Okay? And so, that's a good thing, I think, for Scorpio risings, to really experience this and to learn this. So Sagittarius. Well, we're talking about what I said, right? The mutable ascendant. We're talking about your fourth house. Okay, so let's really think about having the Pisces North Node in the fourth house. I would suggest the water feature in the home, the spiritual discipline, really for your emotional mind, your mother. I would normally say, hey, do like a DNA thing, 23andMe, but you can't trust these organizations anymore. And 23andMe, all the executives would step down, and there's a lot going on. But even think of how are you, because the Virgo South Node, 10th house, how are you journaling or keeping catalog of your own family legacy? Your mother's lineage, your father's lineage, for your children, your grandchildren. How are you finding that work, home, life balance? When you're working, Virgo South Node, 10th house, when you're out there dealing with these situations and these people, are you being kind of grounded and practical, but seeking spiritual connections at work? Or not accepting being treated less than? You got a boss that keeps nitpicking on you and criticizing you. You don't energetically need that. Maybe it's time that you're going to switch your job. 10th house is workplace, work environment. The midheaven could be there, but it's not always there. But, it could be the career. But it is your legacy and public image. Could you rekindle or increase the spiritual connection with your father, Sag risings? Think about that. And then in your home, this is where you may want to have more spiritual discipline in your home. If you believe in ancestral altars, this could be a time to set up an altar, Sag. This can be a time where you just increase your spiritual practice in your home. Maybe this is a time, Sag risings, where you may want to move. You're like, I want to be closer to the water. I want to have a beach home or a second home by water. Maybe, like I said, just getting the water feature in your home could help you so you could see the running water. But this is definitely, I would be doing a lot. I would do a once a week, like spiritual bath, or just get in there, listen to some high vibrational music, some classical music, high frequency stuff, crystals in the bath, Epsom salt, purification, essential oils, But maybe heal some things. There could be some things from the past that you're being called to heal with your mom, your grandma. You may have this and you're a young viewer of my channel, or someone, and you're 22 and your mom and your grandma, you're not talking to either of them. Well, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, Pisces North Node, maybe it's time to try to heal those. Maybe it's time maybe they're caught up in their ways, and you've got to forgive them. Forgiveness is a gift to yourself, Sag rising. So maybe you've got to forgive them, and you've got to be the mature adult, even though you're the youngest and the young adult, that you've got to make things right and heal things, right? Think of like, we know, right? Women, sometimes girls can bang heads with their mother and their grandma, right? And so maybe it's time to heal those relationships, Sag rising. It could be really a great spiritual push. You definitely want to try to find that balance with work life, home life, And for Sag risings, you may feel you've been too much in your work life and not taking care of what you need to do at home. And that could be the spirituality, the compassion, and empathy. Maybe introducing things to your young children, about your culture, your legacy, your history, or just even what spirituality is, what prayer is, what religion is, what Yeshua is, you know what I mean? Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever it is. But that's going to be important for Sag risings at this time. and can be extremely beneficial. Remember Venus, and this could be a time with Venus where you may want to work from home. When you have Venus in the fourth house, that is a work from home energy, okay? And it can be actually really good. You know, maybe you even start your own spiritual business and you're working from home. That could, you know, actually be a really beneficial thing. So my Cap rising people, Pisces, North Node, third house, Virgo, South Node, ninth house. Are you feeling that exhale? Pluto's off your ascendant now. You're like, my life's been hell since 2008. And Pluto's not all bad. I don't want to scare the Aquarius risings, but it's just going through a lot, okay? And so Cap risings, welcome back to the world. You may be feeling like a little like I got my swagger back. Well, now you got the Pisces North Node in your third house. How are you showing up in your local community on social media with your younger siblings, your cousins, your neighbors? Like, are you ready to heal or you know, purify or improve the relationships with your neighbors and your younger siblings or cousins? You know, are you going to show them some compassion and empathy? Yeah, they acted out at Thanksgiving 5 years ago and it was really bad and ugly. But are you ready to heal that and be like, you know what? We need to start having family holiday dinners again. You know what I mean? Like, it could be that literal and that practical. And so when you have the Pisces in the third house, you're communicating more in the spiritual realm. That's what the North Node is asking you to do. You know what I mean? Like, not just have the compassion and empathy, but the Saturn's there, have the healthy boundaries on those relationships. And, you know, if these people aren't willing to meet you halfway and change, you can forgive them from afar and maybe you don't have them over for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? That's where you have to really have that spiritual discernment that the Neptune can offer, but also don't be deceived and don't be manipulated by social media. Be very mindful. And sorry, Sag rising, fourth house, America's chart. Don't get caught up in the television, right? The fourth house is the home. We're at home watching the television. Just, you know, be mindful of that as well, okay? Don't Sag rising. So, but Cap risings, you know, the social media, you know, all those things, the communications, the writing. This could be the time with the Virgo South Node in the ninth house and the Pisces North Node in the third, right? Just imagine the South Node here, you know, Cap risings. Maybe you go on a spiritual vacation or retreat. Maybe you've always wanted to go to Italy, Greece, Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt. 25 or 26, do it. Go have that spirit, go to the pilgrimage to Mecca, go learn and go, and then maybe you journal or you write about it. You know, the North Node here, you know, this is like, you know, in your community, maybe in your local community, just like we were talking about for the Libra risings, maybe you do find a yoga studio. Maybe you're like, you know, I want to start doing the red light therapy. I want to go to the ice bath and do the ice and the cryotherapy. Those cooling rooms. I went in one around here in Scottsdale. Oh my God, it was so healing. It was freezing. You know, I did like 3 minutes in like below, I don't know, it was like 100 below temperature or something. You're in your clothes or whatever. But then from there you go to the hot, not the hot tub, but the hot red light sauna. Oh my God, this is really for you, Cap risings. Pisces North Node. Go find one of those places in your community. Sound therapy, sound healing, sound baths. You hear about these different classes over social media. Well, maybe find a good practitioner. You can email me, right? Eric@BigEAstro.com. I know some amazing people that can do that work with you. You know, Capricorn risings, that this is a good opportunity and time for you to experience these things. And, you know, the Venus, you know, maybe you're like, keep your car clean. Cap and Sag risings, really focus. I mean, energetically, this is for everybody. When you keep your car clean, it's good energy for you. Venus and Pisces, but I'm thinking about it specifically for the Sag and Cap rising, third and fourth house. Venus is vehicles, third house is transportation. Maybe try to listen. Don't meditate at home and then you get in your car and you're putting on some ratchet music. F the police and I'm a killing it. Like no, don't do that. Cat risings don't do that. Like get in the car and keep the good vibes going. Okay, I think that's really important for you and at this time. Aquarius risings. Okay, so we're dealing with this North Node in Pisces in your second house and the eighth house, Virgo South Node. So, you're going to feel like financially with Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and North Node in your second house, Aquarius risings, and Pluto on your ascendant, you're like, hey, it's go time for me. Whether I want to start my own business or I've got to be the one, is my first job out of college. The financial burden and responsibilities of life, Aquarius risings, it's on you. You are the I am. You are the one that's got to heal the pain, trauma, and crises. You've got to increase your self-worth and values. You've got to have the spiritual discipline. You've got to tap into your sixth sense. You have got to eat properly. You've got to increase your water. You have got to implement a spiritual practice in your own family. Or if your family's not rocking with it, you've got to do it on your own. But this is the energy where you have got a second house earn money. It's on you. Saturn, get disciplined, right? There is no spirit of lack, right? You want to manifest with gratitude, right? Don't just say, I am wealthy, right? You're thanking the universe, right? I thank you that I am a multimillionaire. I thank you that I am healed with wealth and abundance, right? With gratitude that you've already received it. So, Aquarius risings, when you're looking at this Virgo South Node in the eighth house, just remember, let me see. Okay, well, we got, so Isis is there, yeah, and Regulus. So think about also the health, right? So we want to make sure this is the time, Aquarius risings, colon cleanse, colonics, detoxing, purification. And K2 being an eighth house, you really want to get into, I want to learn and live in the flow and energy of my natal birth chart, of my human design. I want to use numerology for my benefit, right? I want to study with Lloyd Strayhorn and, watch him on October 29th on YouTube with BigEAstro. You know what I mean? You want to tap in with the Virgo South Node. That is really sea moss, ashwagandha, burdock root, spirulina, right? Mint, thyme, basil, growing, tapping into your crystals and minerals and gems, putting in the proper minerals in your body, prebiotics, probiotics. Aquarius risings, you're about to have what the young kids say, a glow up, but it's got to be through the health access. This nodal access, all the emphasis, you guys, whatever house it's in, it is about the purification of our health. We have this transit at this time because our health has been on attack more than ever in probably world history. There's more poisons and toxins in the food, in the sky, in the water, the fluoride, the this, the that, the that. Listen, you have got to put yourself and your health, mental, physical, spiritual, first. Aquarius risings with Pluto and Ceres on your ascendant. Come on, all the signs are there. You got to do the parasite cleanse. You got to purge. You got to detox. You got to get your health rocking and rolling. All right, Miss Janice. Pisces North Node.
Yes.
So listen, I mean, when you've got the North Node, Neptune, Saturn, and Venus, this is the recipe for not one more negative word about Miss Janice coming out your mouth. You do not have any time to talk bad about yourself. You have to know that you are a spiritual giant. But more importantly, those boundaries, yeah, your best girlfriend, you've known her for 30 years, but maybe the conversations have got to change, and you got to have that heart to heart and be like, sweetie, I love you, but you got to stop. I don't watch the news. You got to stop talking about Fox and CNN and Trump and Harris and, and this and that. Like, I need peace in my life. The North Node is telling you 2025, 2026, Pisces risings, it's all about self-love. How you have poured into others your whole life, these 2 years, you got to tell everybody to kick rocks and kiss my grits. It's time for Pisces risings to love on themselves. This is the biggest self-love, this 18-month transit, and the Saturn, the healthy boundaries. And this is a time where if you put into the health access, you can literally extend your life. Saturn on the ascendant is delaying the loss of the I am energy. So this is restitution. Like get what the celebrities are doing, the what is it, NAD? Look into those pills. Look into all the herbs and the healthy things. Like, do the aromatherapy, do the sound frequency therapy, right? Get into increasing. Let's say you meditate and pray 30 minutes a day. Well, 2025, 2026, Janus and Pisces risings, it's an hour a day. And it's with joy and gratitude. It's 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. And if you want to do like a Nikola Tesla 369, the journaling and the positive affirmations, morning, midday, and night before you go to bed. There's no reason, because remember the Venus is there. It's the self-worth. And please do not OD. I know they tell you that dark chocolate is good for you, but you got to make sure it's with restrictions, right? Because Venus on the ascendant, Pisces rises. There's Janus. If you don't have a sweet tooth, you may in 25 and 26. So just if it's good chocolate and dark chocolate, it's better, but just in moderation, right? But also, this is a time really to explore the sound frequencies, because the Venus is there. So not just the high vibrational like jazz and classical music, but really looking at the 526, the 440, the megahertz, right? The love frequencies. Really, even doing somatic work. Like, this is a time where you can really, you're going to be the greatest magician and shapeshifter. Neptune on the ascendant, you can morph into anything, anyone. But you're going to have rose-colored glasses. The Virgo South Node, that's there to help you in the sense that it's got to be any business partnerships, even when you're shopping in the marketplace, it's got to be all about spirituality. The South Node is saying like, hey, compliment the lady next to you. Like, oh girl, I love your shoes, your earrings, you look beautiful today. The somebody at the when you go to the grocery store, cutting, at the meat market part, whatever, they may be doing your thing. They may not have received a compliment in 3 months. Just tell that little chubby lady or that chubby old guy behind the counter, like, you look really good today. I love your shirt, or I love, your, the earrings, or, this is where literally in the marketplace, the Virgo South Node, not only do you need spiritual partnerships, whether it's business, relationships, or marriage, Janice, but like that kindness, those kind acts of service to humanity, even going to the health insurance, life insurance, doctor, the marketplace, the new cell phone, whatever. The Virgo, just be that helpful, kind Virgo the Virgin. Share, right? You've got all this knowledge about health and nutrition. Share that, right? Maybe you're at the store and they don't know that, that these fruits and vegetables are sprayed with a peel, and you let them know, like, no, when it has that on it, don't buy that, sweetie. That's not good for your kids. You know what I mean? Get these fruits or vegetables, or, just get the essentials you need here. And I know 2 miles down the road, there's a farmer's market that's there on Saturdays and on Wednesday mornings. Go get stuff there for your kids. Take that time to say that. that literally can play out and manifest. And when you do that, you're activating the South Node K2, and it brings in more spiritual blessings for you. And the Pisces North Node, it's all about pouring into your own container, to your I am energy. And that Neptune, this is where you may be pushed, where you're like, you know what, I want to write song lyrics or poetry. Neptune Venus is all, and Pisces, that's all poetry for all the ascendants. That is writing a screenplay, a romantic novel, and it's squaring the Gemini moon. And so, for you as a Pisces rising, right, that Gemini moon is in the 4th house. And it's like having the healthy communications in the home. But think about the emotional mind, right? Now, I don't know if this is true. If you guys heard, I've seen these videos lately, but I've seen it in so many different ways. But they're saying that there's a percentage of human beings on the planet that actually do not have that inner dialogue. Have you ever heard of that? Do you guys have an inner dialogue? You talk to yourself inside your own head, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Yes, I have it too.
Okay.
It's
But I mean, do you think that that's real? That there's some human beings that maybe don't have that or don't do that?
I can't imagine anybody not having that.
That would
I
be
think they
weird to
just
me
don't
too.
feed into it. They try to rationalize it as something else.
I could see that. Yeah, that I could see that. I couldn't fathom that people are not able to do it. I could see where people choose not to, right? But for Pisces risings, that inner dialogue, right? It's got to be, look at Jupiter there too and the moon. It's got to be optimistic. It's got to be positive, and it's got to be expanding your curiosity and knowledge. But, this is a good time for you, Janice. I mean, as a Pisces rising, it's self-love on steroids.
Yeah.
You got to tell those wonderful kids and your friends and business associates, hey, you can have me for the rest of 2024, but 25, 26, it's Janice TV, 24/7, 365. But
Yeah,
in a
it's
positive way,
right. It's interesting because I'm strongly anticipating a move
Mm.
in 2025.
Well, with the Jupiter there in the 4th house, that could be, it doesn't mean downsizing or increasing, but it could be because Jupiter is about expansion and sometimes can be connected to like moving foreign lands. And that could just be like the next town over, but you know what I mean? So, and with the moon is Gemini, it's all about traveling. So, yeah, that could be a good time to do so in 25 or 26.
Let me
Um,
ask you something. I have in my natal chart, I have my Jupiter is in Gemini
yeah, so you're having
natal
that
chart.
return, yeah. Well, this is the time, until June 9th of 25, this is the time to write your book, expand your inquisitive, curious nature, expand your communications in the home. Jupiter in the 4th house, though, it could, there's financial blessings through what you integrate into the emotional mind. You know what I mean? Like your wisdom, your beliefs, and philosophies can be the things that bring you opportunities to work or teach from home. Can bring Jupiter is biology and finance, so it can bring money and wealth, but also benefits with having or growing a garden. But when you have the Jupiter return, this is your time to manifest. Speak it, say it, send it out there, but do it with the intention. We have to be very detailed and specific with our words. You can't just say, "Oh, I don't want to have any pain in my body anymore." No, like, thank you, Creator, thank you, God, for healing my right elbow and my left shoulder. That there is no more stress on my ligaments and my tendons. Like, be specific, right? And
Mhm.
we manifest with confidence. and that we've already received it. We never want, because when you want, that's telling the universe that you're lacking it, that you don't have it. So then the universe will say, well, oh, you don't have this, so you'll continue not to have it. You don't want it, right? You received it already with gratitude. So the appreciation and gratitude changes the frequency and the energy, right? I am a multimillionaire, and I'm in great gratitude for the multi-millions of dollars that I will receive. So that's how we have to have that mentality. And sometimes it feels off because it's like it may not be real at this moment, but what is time? Time's an illusion. So it's real already in another dimension. You got to go out there and bring that dimension to your here right now, right? So, but I think as a Pisces rising, everything's gonna be all right, But definitely that Virgo South Node, just take that to heart. Spiritual businesses, connections, and not accepting people being overly critical of you, and you not being over critical of people in the marketplace or business partnerships or a potential relationship.
Or self.
Well, definitely of self, but because of the Virgo South Node in the seventh house, it's going to be more about the other half,
Okay.
right? In terms of the Pisces, yeah, no, we can't. This is not depression, woe is me, no victimization, no like, oh my God, nobody loves me and I love, right? Venus, Pisces, I love everybody unconditionally. Neptune, oh, I'm so kind and compassionate. Listen, if you're choosing to love others, you don't worry about it. It's from your heart. You don't worry about how it's received. You're sending out that love and that positive vibration, and you just know that that's putting into your own spiritual bank and karma. You're not worried about how it comes back to you. It's unconditional. It's
Right.
it's a book of Ephesians, agape Christ-like love when it's for the Pisces risings. Okay. And definitely, you don't want to listen to no garbage and no garbage television and movies either. You know, we know sometimes when we can all get binge watch some stuff on Netflix that we're like, ooh, this is not necessarily good for me to be
Now, Eric, I
watching.
haven't turned my TV on in like 3 years. So
Oh, that's good. That's good.
yeah, I don't do that. I mean, I have people tell me stuff. That's how I
Yeah.
find out stuff. I
Yeah.
don't.
No, definitely. But it's definitely a time where it's really pouring into you first. You know what I mean? And I think, hey, we all could use 18 months of pouring into ourselves, right? I mean, gosh, some of us, we don't ever really do it with the intention ever in our lives.
Yeah.
So take this time to just put that little extra love. And I would definitely increase all like sound bowls and the spiritual stuff, but even the Epsom salt baths and the crystals, because that's literally, I mean, when I think of Venus, Saturn, Neptune, North Node, and Pisces, yeah, that right there is like my crystals are with me everywhere. They're in my purse, they're in my sock, they're in my back pocket, they're under your pillow at night.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all of it.
Yeah,
So
some kind of crystal is always in my presence.
that's great. That is really great. And at this time, I think at all times since you're a Pisces rising, but with Venus being there at this time, do the Google search. I know Pisces is amethyst and something else, but definitely, use those particular crystals, the amethyst and whatever else is good with Pisces. Okay. Aries, Miss Cheryl. So we're talking about the North Node in the
Yes,
12th
sir.
house, right? And the Virgo South Node in the 6th house. So for all you Aries risings and Miss Cheryl, okay, it's similar to Miss Janice, but it's more in your subconscious and unconscious mind, in your dreams and in your bedroom. This is where, number one, don't eat in the bedroom, especially any sweets or chocolates, because you can overindulge, right? The 12th house is loss of debt, loss of energy, overspending. Venus, you got to be disciplined with the shopping. 25 and 26, you don't need 5, 10 pairs of new shoes and stuff like that in the purses. This is where we don't get into the overspending. And
Why?
because you
I'm
have
just kidding.
okay. Venus and Saturn there. No, no, no. This is real heavy karma. So you, like I said, you want to guide your dreams. It's like I told you, you want to keep that dream book, but you want to go into like bedtime for you needs to be a spiritual event. You want the crystals in the bed, under the pillow. You want to set the intention. If you want to burn some incense, you know what I mean? You want to have your routine and your discipline down. And the intention that when you go to the astral plane and you go to sleep, Cheryl's coming back bigger, better, stronger, and much faster. You're coming back with all the knowledge you want from your spirit team, your ancestors, from God. You're coming back with the energy you need for each day to be restored and renewed. And and this is a good time for you to do not just journaling and dream book, maybe do something creative. Write a romance novel, write poetry, write a book, right? Write whatever, I mean, and you're going to have the, where's the, yeah, the Gemini moon in the third house squaring it. This is where the work and stuff that you do in the spiritual realm is going to show up in your sixth house Virgo daily routine for your health. This is important because you want to make sure you are really taking care. And maybe I would they have them, I know, at Sprouts and some of the different stores or markets, whatever, the pre and probiotics, and also the bitters, getting the bitters, to help with your digestion. But also the South Node, right? You've got your lovely cat. You don't have a dog though, right? Just a cat?
Actually, they're my daughter's cats, but
Okay.
it's two of them.
Okay. Well, I
Hmm.
don't, I'm
But
not
they
saying,
mind because
yeah, I know. You
you
take
know
care.
how it go
But I know
with
how it goes.
grown folk.
But I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying, this may be the time where you feel that urge to, maybe it's too much. Maybe you get a third one or a dog or, but just that spiritual care and paying attention to them. See how they move spiritually, right? This is a spiritual connection to the pets too, because those cats, they ward off negative spirits. Cats really help us in the spiritual realm, but that's T squared to that moon in the third house. That's about movement. That's about learning, communicating. Jupiter over the social media. This is where you can not only speak your truth, but you can share, some of the spiritual growth and knowledge that you have gained and experienced with the collective over social media, in your local community, with your friends and neighbors, your younger siblings, cousins, but you really want to focus on your bedroom and your spiritual practices. I would definitely increase it, always. I would, because it's in your 12th house, I would always, do something. It doesn't matter during the day, but I would definitely, first thing in the morning and at night, and it doesn't have to be long, depending on how busy your day is, but do something. Set that intention that you are going to be on such a spiritual path in 25 and 26. And I also could see, for all Aries risings and Cheryl, a spiritual retreat. Maybe you're coming out to Arizona for Astrology spiritual retreat in 2025. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, but you want to become that spiritual giant with the discipline because your dreams are going to be crazy. Neptune in the 12th house, Venus, I mean, they're probably already crazy now, but with the North Node there, it's going to increase and it's going to start to consume you. So not in a bad way, but in a way that you may tap in to ancestors and spirit guides and visions and dreams in a way that you haven't quite done before. And with that combination, I would not be surprised. So just be prepared. You could have your dream book. You may have to have the cell phone, but
Oh Lord.
yep, you're gonna get a lot of revelation, and it's all gonna be for the positive. Just remember though, healthy boundaries, the Saturn, right? The bedroom is a sacred space. It's where we rest. Oh, and let me tell you guys, your head should be facing to the south or the east. Those are the two best places for sleep. If you're facing to the north, you're preparing for your grave. The west is not as bad, but it's still bad. You want your head and your pillow to be facing to the south or the east. Okay, so check on your compass on your cell phones and check in your bedroom. The sun rises in the east, so if your bed is facing to where the sun rises, that's good. But you want your head and your pillow to the south or the east. My wife and I had to switch because our bed faces to the north, so we didn't mess up the bed frame and all that. We just reversed the pillows and the blankets. So now, I swear to you, the first night we changed, the sleep was like, oh my God. And it almost made me cry because I was like, wow, I could have been doing this whole time. Because I struggled with sleep issues when I got sick with the valley fever and then even after the coma stuff. And so sleeping's been a challenge for me. Well, after we turned our pillows, and I swear to you, the first night going to the south, it was like a whole new game. Okay. So we got two more left. Taurus. Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. You are going to have,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Taurus risings, you're going to have it in your 11th house, the Pisces North Node and the Virgo South Node. Well, this is about you expanding your hopes, dreams, and wishes and really taking a lot of spiritual classes over the internet, really getting into the philanthropic work. Maybe you go help a charity or start a nonprofit, right? That you're really building with your groups, your communities, your social network, right? So you're kind of putting in things in your spiritual bank to expand your hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is really, Taurus risings, this is a great energy for you. And this is where, especially if you happen to be a Pisces sun too, oh my God, this is a big time for you where you're going to go through serious transformations in 25 and 26, Taurus risings, around your groups, any older siblings, your father's siblings, aunt and uncle, where you can have a rekindling or a spiritual connection, but the spiritual discipline, take advantage of the technology of how it can help you to manifest in your life, Taurus risings, any spiritual path or new experiences, right? Maybe you want to become a Reiki master. Sign up, take the classes. There's many practitioners out there. Maybe you want to learn astrology. Reach out to me, Taurus risings. Maybe you want to start your own nonprofit, form your LLC, right? I can help you with the business birth chart. But Taurus risings, you've got to remember that Virgo South Node in the fifth house, this is where you've got to not be so analytical and critical of the kids, but you've got to spiritually guide them with acts of service and kindness and humanity, but be precise and detailed in letting them know how they can eat better, focus on their health and nutrition, focus on high school, college years, college applications, taking them on a college tour, if you've got, young kids or kids on that verge of those ages. Taurus risings, you also, if you're single and you're dating, yeah, you can find somebody over the internet, but it's got to be a spiritual connection. Okay, Taurus risings, everything's got to be in that spiritual realm for you, and really, I don't know. I would take the time to tap in and see what was going on with past life energy and karmas, and maybe get some sort of reading or do things like that. But you can also, maybe meet a very spiritual partner for dating, if you're a Taurus rising. But you gotta feel it in your gut, in your root chakra. Virgo rules that lower intestines, so you want to make sure, like, okay, this relationship, and okay, and this and that. You know what I mean? You want it to really be, in that proper place for you. Okay. And last but not least, the Gemini. I know I got some Gemini people who are going to watch this on the replay. So that moon's going to be on your ascendant. And the Pisces, remember I said for all the mutable signs, this is really big. The Pisces, North Node, and Saturn, and Venus, and Neptune in your 10th house. This is kind of going for that dream job, that dream career, This is maybe saying that, you know what, I have been holding myself back, right? I have not been walking in my destined path and following that, you know what, maybe I am more creative. Maybe I am more intuitive and psychic than I give myself credit for. And I've got to stop getting in my own way and start my spiritual job or career, or just find a career or job that gives you the opportunity to tap into your creativity and imagination, right? Maybe you always wanted to work on television or film. Maybe you become, someone behind the scenes, interior designer, a decorator, right? Graphic designer. Or maybe you're doing something that you're working in the entertainment business, but it's, something behind the scenes. Or maybe you want to learn how to make documentaries. But the key is with the North Node in the 10th house, you are going to find people to help you on your public image, your legacy and career. And maybe it's something with the dad. Maybe the dad's not around anymore. Maybe it's honoring your father in a way. But Gemini risings, you have got to make the home a sanctuary. That Virgo South Node, 10th house, maybe change your furniture, or just, set up different spiritual practices in the home that you are not unattainable, but that every day you can practically take time to ground in earth, and really tap in energetically to, heal that emotional mind. Because sometimes Gemini risings, the Virgo fourth house, maybe mom was kind of nitpicky and over analytical and critical of you in the home as a child. Well, you can heal that. Forgive mom. Forgiveness is a gift to us. Forgive our parents. Until you see your parents' birth charts, you better forgive your mother and father. They had to take care of you for God knows how many years. They're not perfect. They tried their best. No, maybe some didn't try their best. But we still got to forgive them, because we don't know all the trauma. We think we know our parents' lives. We don't know the traumas and the experiences and the self-doubt and lack of self-love and things they went through in their lives. So we have to forgive them. It's better for us spiritually and energetically. So Gemini risings, forgive mom, and maybe build that spiritual connection with your father. You know what I mean? Whether he's here or not, or wasn't a good dad or is, compassion, empathy, grace and mercy, forgive. But at the same time, this is where you have got to be willing out in public to wear your weird spiritual flag. So what? You love astrology? Let them know. Same with the Taurus risings. You're into astrology, esoteric occult knowledge. Whether you have like Pisces earrings or a Virgo t-shirt, so what? This is the time. Pluto and Aquarius. Oh, you're going to see big time astrology, and I'm going to probably start selling more merch with that stuff too. I've actually got I created bumper stickers. I got to put them up on my thing. I'm only selling them for $3. They're really cool, but I've got to put it on my website. But this is coffee mugs. This is t-shirts. You're going to see, you feel like it's a trend, but it's actually a movement. It's going to be a movement with Pluto and Aquarius the next 20 years, and 25 and 26 with the Pisces North Node. People are going to, you're already seeing it. I don't know, in different advertisements, on commercials, TV, radio, people are talking about chakras and meditation. Like, you're starting to see it even in the, in the world lexicon, but it's going to increase like so much more. So you Gemini Taurus risings, yeah, there's nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed of or hide about or any of that stuff. Like, be proud. Be like, yeah, I'm a Capricorn moon. Hey, I rock it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And this is where you're going to see for Gemini risings, this is where you can get into like software production. You can get more into building apps, all those types of things. So, I just want for all of us to enjoy this transit. And I hope all you guys at home really enjoy this and got a lot of information. Remember, the Cancer risings, we did you first, and this is your ascendant, and this is the lineup. But this is the chart for the actual transit, okay? So you can kind of visualize, and I'll be sending this in email, but it's like laying this chart down on top of your own. That's why I went around and explained the house alignments, but then just look at this chart and then notice if, you may not have, I know you don't have Uranus and Taurus in your natal chart, but look at Taurus and what house it's in, and Uranus is there now, right? And it's going to be there all of 25. It'll go into Gemini for a second, but it'll be there for 25 until April 2026. Pluto in Aquarius, right? It's an 8th house, but wherever house you have Aquarius is in, Pluto and Ceres, they're going to be here for this transit, and and Pluto will be there, for the next 20 years. So just always with this access, focus on your health. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So treat yourself that way. Honor your spiritual man, right? Honor who you are and your soul and what it's here to learn in this lifetime, and feed that, enjoy that, walk in that. And then never forget, hey, we got these physical avatar bodies with this frail bones and flesh and these things on the side of our cranium that are like this random piece of meat that we can hear from, right? And hair follicles and the rods and cones in our retina and on our ear that give us, and blood traveling that give us color and sound and perception. Ground in earth and nature, work on your digestion, and really take the time to honor and know that you are amazing. And this is the health access, so health has got to be, the greatest focus for you at this time, and pour into yourselves, okay? So this was so much fun. Everybody else, you guys missed it live, but Ms. Janice and Ms. Cheryl, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much.
This was great, and you guys are going to do great. You can't ever underestimate Venus and Saturn being there. How much that is really telling you to be disciplined about your value, self-worth, and relationships. Also our food and our fashion, I think that we're going to see as a collective that materialism is dying down as it needs to, and we have got to get more into who we are beyond hair and makeup and cars and clothing, right? We are really we're spiritual giants, and we got to start acting like that. We're also royalty too, and we have to act like that. So just take the time to really pour into yourselves, and this all begins January 11th, 2025.